What if no one could unsettle you anymore? Not through words, not through silence, nor through betrayal. Most men live on edge, easily provoked. A single mocking remark, a broken promise, or a minor delay can ignite their anger, breed bitterness, or drain their energy. It's not the world's cruelty at fault, but their failure to master their own emotions. But the Stoic philosophers grasped a truth we've forgotten. Power belongs to those who remain calm under pressure. Mental strength isn't about physical might, but about control. And self-control starts with an unshakable principle. You don't have to react. In this video, you'll learn to build emotional mastery in the Stoic way. Imagine mastering the art of staying unruffled, no longer letting others provoke you, and preserving your inner peace like a man who refuses to be ruled by chaos. You'll discover why lowering expectations isn't weakness, but wisdom. Why silence isn't surrender, but strategy. And why emotions aren't the enemy. It's your reactions to them that pose the real danger. If you've ever felt that people underestimate your calm, or that life constantly knocks you off balance, you're not alone. But today, that changes. This isn't fleeting motivation, it's a profound shift. Stay with me. What you're about to hear could transform how you face every challenge. If it resonates, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs it. Because true strength isn't in the noise, it's in endurance. And from this moment on, no one and nothing can dictate your peace. First, make self-mastery your shield. There's a subtle moment, seemingly insignificant, when a man surrenders his power. Someone interrupts, mocks, or ignores him, and inside, a storm brews. His chest tightens, jaw clenches, voice erupts. Peace vanishes in an instant, not because the other is stronger, but because he reacted, and in that reaction, he yields. We often confuse reaction with strength. We think the one who roars back holds power. But the cold truth is deeper. Power isn't in the noise. It resides in the silence you deliberately choose. Self-mastery isn't about lacking emotions. It's refusing to let them dictate your actions. You don't need to become numb, but precise. Anger is instinctual, swift, loud, heated, and perilous. It feels like action, yet often leads to regret. When someone insults you and you explode, they've won by getting under your skin. They dictate your mental state, and you unwittingly let them script your life. The easily provoked man has no walls, no boundaries. His emotions are public property. Anyone can enter, push a button, and hijack him momentarily. Now picture another man. He hears the same insult, but remains unmoved, breath steady, gaze unwavering. He doesn't suppress the reaction, he's mastered it through practice. Because he knows emotional control isn't about appearing tough, it's about not handing the keys to your peace to strangers. This is the Stoic's power, not ego-driven, but a command over your time, energy, and emotional space. You've likely experienced this. Stuck in traffic, someone cuts you off, heart races, words bubble up, but then it passes. Yet you remain tense, distracted, off balance. That's the cost of reaction. You pay it long after the moment fades. The Stoic man understands this. So he pauses. He lets the emotion peak, but refuses to let it rule. He breathes deeply. He remembers the world owes him no perfect order. Control rests in his hands. Most live in survival mode, always ready to defend, prove, or retaliate. But that stance weakens you. It places your identity in others' hands. If they insult, you react. If they praise, you smile. You're no longer steadfast but reactive. The reactive man is a slave to the world's emotional waves. So how do you build the shield? Start with the pause. When provoked, don't speak hastily. Don't move impulsively. Feel the wave rise within. But don't ride it. Observe it. Acknowledge it. But don't obey it. That pause is your power, the place where you break the cycle. Over time, you'll react less, growing calmer. You stop fighting noise with noise. You cease chasing justice in petty arguments. You guard your energy like your life, because it is. This doesn't mean passivity. The Stoic man doesn't ignore injustice, but knows when to act and when to let go. He knows when to speak, and when silence holds greater power, he chooses his battles. And when he engages, it's with clarity, not hot anger. You don't need to prove strength. You need to own it. The loudest in the room is often the least in control. The silent, calm, unblinking one evokes true authority. That's the man who commands respect. From this moment, let calm be your first instinct, not reaction. Make composure your habit. Let steadiness be your signature. When you master that, you become impenetrable, not because the world stops testing you, but because it can no longer touch what once controlled you. Second, lower your expectations of others. You're constantly disappointed because you set them too high. That's the trap. It starts quietly with a thought that someone should know better. Do more. Understand more. You expect them to say the right thing. Value you. Respect your boundaries without prompting. But when they don't, you feel it. The frustration, the anger, even betrayal. You start believing people are letting you down. But the simple, harder truth, they're just being themselves. The pain doesn't come from their actions but from your expectation that they should be different. Expectations are silent contracts. You draft alone, no one signs them. You think a friend will defend you. A partner will be more patient. A colleague will recognize your effort. But they aren't. And in the gap between what you hoped for and what you get, your peace evaporates. That gap breeds resentment. You carry the weight of unmet expectations, and it begins to crush you. The Stoic doesn't waste time blaming others for being who they are. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself each morning he'd encounter the ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, not out of pessimism, but preparation. When you accept human nature, you stop demanding perfection. You stop handing your peace to the next disappointment. You don't expect calm in a storm or clarity in chaos. You learn to see people as they are, not as you wish. Imagine entering a room with no expectations. You don't assume the waiter will be polite, the driver calm, or friends. Remember your birthday. You observe. You engage. You respond. But not impulsively. You've freed yourself from the invisible chains of assumptions. You're no longer shocked when someone disappoints because you've let go of the idea they owe you something they never promised. That freedom is subtle, but it changes everything. Most men tie their inner peace to how others behave. A stranger's rudeness can ruin their morning. A family member's silence can stretch tension for weeks. But what if you could untie that knot? What if you stopped expecting others to deliver your peace neatly wrapped? What if you ceased demanding the imperfect to act perfectly? That's where Stoicism breathes. It embraces reality on its own terms. It doesn't demand fairness from those who don't yet grasp it. It doesn't require understanding from those still battling themselves. It says meet people where they stand, and don't let it shake you. This is something you can do now. Think of someone who consistently disappoints you, a friend, colleague, relative. Ask yourself, am I hurt by what they did or by what I thought they should do? Write it down. Say it aloud. Let that question be your mirror. In that moment of reflection, you'll see clearly. You weren't betrayed. You just expected too much. Lowering expectations doesn't mean becoming cold. It means becoming clear. It's not the death of hope, but the birth of understanding. You don't need to stop caring about people. You need to stop letting your hopes for them become weapons they unwittingly use against you. Start today. Tell yourself, I'll see others as they are, not as I wish. I won't beg rain to be sunshine. Instead, I'll build shelter. That's Stoic freedom, not escaping others, but escaping the burden of needing them to change. Third, practice indifference to provocation. Some people don't seek peace. They want your reaction. They poke, prod. They wait for you to explode because that's how they feel in control. When you lose your cool, they win. Not because they're stronger, but because they've dragged you into their chaos. The moment you react, you've entered their frame. You let them define who you become. And that's the real loss, not the insult, not the argument, but letting them reach your core. Indifference isn't numbness. It's not ignoring injustice or pretending it doesn't hurt. Stoic indifference means not letting the unworthy steal your energy. You choose where your mind lingers. You decide who gets access. You protect your focus like something sacred, because it is. Every time you let a fool provoke you, you step off your throne into the mud. Recall the last time someone deliberately annoyed you. A stranger on the road, a disrespectful colleague in a meeting, a family member who knows just what to say to irk you. You feel the flame ignite. Words form. Tension builds in your chest. That's the deciding moment. The test. And most fail it. They speak too soon. They act too fast. They lose the very power they aim to protect. Now envision a different outcome. Same insult. Same provocation. But this time, you pose. You feel the urge to react. But you don't. You let the words fall without letting them seep in. You observe. Then decide, not worth it. And you walk away, not in retreat, but in command. That's not weakness. That's dominion. The unblinking man owns the room. The calm one masters the moment. Epictetus said, if someone tries to hurt you and you don't accept it, they've failed. Because pain requires your permission. Insulting words only stick if you agree. But when you meet noise with silence, when you stop reacting to every jab, you rise beyond their reach. You become untouchable, not by fighting harder, but by not fighting at all. This doesn't mean passivity. You still act when necessary. You set boundaries. You speak truth. But you pick your ground. You don't get sucked into every petty skirmish. You don't explain to those who want to misunderstand. You don't argue with noise. You step over it with resolve. That's Stoic emotional strength. It's mind training for calm. Next time someone provokes, try this. Pause for 3 seconds. Just 3. In that silence, feel it all. But don't act rashly. Ask yourself, do I really want to give them this control? Then decide. That pause is where character forms. Silence separates the strong from the impulsive. Practice this daily in small moments, like at the market, in traffic, or debates. Don't respond just to feel better. Let silence speak volume. Let calm unsettle them. The one who yells has lost control. The unblinking one forces change. Let them talk. Let them mock. Let them try. But guard your energy like gold, because in the end, it's your greatest treasure. When you stop reacting to every provocation, you gain something rare. Clarity. Peace. You reclaim yourself. Start now. Find a situation today where you'd normally snap, but this time, don't. Smile. Breathe. Move on. That's how the Stoic wins. Quietly. Completely outside their game. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. That irritating moment. The unexpected challenge. It's not chaos, but a mirror. Life shows you who you are when things don't go your way. Most shrink back. They complain. They ask, why me? But the Stoic man asks, what am I called to build in myself right now? Pain isn't personal. It's a lesson. Each disappointment is weight to forge character. Every failure is a forge for discipline. But only if you stop reacting and start responding. Only if you see yourself not as victim, but as architect of inner strength. The world doesn't get easier. You just get better at facing it. When someone disrespects you at work, when your partner snaps unexpectedly, when plans crumble at the finish line, you're in life's gym with 2 choices. Let the moment diminish you, or let it sharpen you. Most men rage and blame. A Stoic breathes, observes, learns, then decides, I won't waste this pain. The truth is, ease doesn't build character. Stress does. Inconvenience does. Hard conversations. Betrayals. Delays. They're not obstacles on your path. They are the path. But you only see that when you stop fleeing and start using them. Marcus Aurelius wrote, fire turns what it burns into flame. That's not poetry. It's training. What seems to break you becomes your fuel. It's easy to be kind when others are. Easy to stay calm when the world complies. But when someone yells in your face, when life throws curveballs, when pride is wounded, that's when you know. That's when your values stop being theory. They're tested. Strength shows, not in comfort, but under pressure. And the man who stays calm under pressure can weather anything. Don't wait for the world to make things easier for growth. It won't. What you can do is shift how you view hardship, not as interruption, but invitation. You're invited into a stronger version of yourself, and you don't need a perfect life for that. Just see each uncomfortable moment as exercise, even the small ones. Late mail, a cold glance, traffic jams. That's where the real work happens. Quietly, daily, intentionally. Here's how to apply it. Next time frustration rises, catch it early. Don't run from it. Name it. Then ask, what is this shaping in me? And consciously choose your response. Will you yell and lose control? Or stand firm and build resilience? Will you argue or hone your calm? Strength isn't a switch. It's practiced in moments like these. Not pretending you don't feel, but choosing not to be ruled by feelings. You're allowed to struggle, but you don't have to fall. You're allowed to feel the burn, but you also have the power to turn that fire into fuel. Next time life pushes back, don't see it as an affront. View it as opportunity, a chance to forge what no one sees: your character, self-mastery, and quiet strength. Fifth, observe emotions without letting them rule. A man doesn't fall because he feels. He falls because he follows every feeling. Anger rises, and he acts. Fear whispers, and he freezes. Shame appears, and he hides. But what if you could watch them all like clouds crossing the sky, without becoming the storm? This isn't denying emotions. It's stripping their control. Emotions are signals. They come fast, intense, but they're not commands. You're not your rage. You're not your anxiety. You're the witness to their arrival. And if you learn to observe without merging, you keep your freedom. Freedom isn't suppressing feelings. It's refusing to be dragged by them. It's a choice you train like a muscle. The Stoics don't say don't feel. They say feel, but don't blindly follow. Imagine standing in a crowded room. Someone mocks you. You feel the surge. Jaw tightens. Heart pounds. It's real. But pause. Instead of lashing out, breathe. Instead of retorting, label it. This is anger. I feel it, but I won't act on it. You've just severed that chain. You've taken the wheel of your life. Most don't do this. They live on autopilot. They believe if a feeling arises, it must be expressed. But Stoicism teaches the opposite. Between stimulus and action lies a space, and in that space, you reclaim control. This is where emotional strength is built. Not by pretending you're unaffected, but by standing firm as the inner storm rages. To achieve this, train awareness. Notice, without judgment. A thought comes. Don't grab it hastily. An emotion surges. Don't let it steer you. Observe. And in observing, create distance. In that distance, find your power. We often act before thinking, then blame the world for the wreckage. But chaos starts not outside, but inside from the unquestioned impulses. When you give emotions the mic, your values go silent. When you let urges lead, your wisdom sits forgotten in the corner. A Stoic man reverses that order. He sees the fire but chooses not to burn. He feels the sting but doesn't strike back, knowing strength isn't in violence, but in restraint. And restraint isn't weakness, it's clarity. It's the quiet command of one who's learned to wait, watch, and choose. You can start practicing this right now. At work, when irritation builds. At home, when disappointment hits. In fatigue. In provocation. Before speaking, pause. Before acting, check the emotion. Ask, what do I feel? But what do I want to build from this? If the answer isn't useful, let it pass. If it's growth, proceed, but only after the inner storm calms. Just 10 seconds of awareness can change everything. This isn't theory, it's practice. Emotional endurance isn't loud or showy. It needs no applause. It lives in the silence between feeling and your choice, and each pause strengthens that silence. You might think not reacting is loss, but you're gaining it all. Balance, perspective, dignity, The world doesn't need more men shouting back. It needs those who stay silent, see clearly, and act only when ripe. So start now. Next time emotion surges like a wave, don't fight it or chase it. Stand still, breathe steady, observe, and move with choice, not impulse. Sixth, be grateful even in discomfort. Gratitude is easy when the sun shines and things flow. But when morning starts with bad news, when a trusted friend lets you down, when traffic steals a precious hour, what then? Most grumble. They replay the moment. They seek blame. And with each complaint, they dig deeper into bitterness. But the Stoic doesn't. Heresis. Knowing gratitude isn't reserved for ease. It's a tool for clarity. Gratitude in pain isn't pretending it doesn't hurt. It's recognizing that within discomfort lies growth opportunity. A moment to hone patience. Test endurance. Stretch humility. While others dwell on what's missing, the Stoic seeks what's possible, a lesson, a shift in view, an inner muscle being worked. He sees discomfort not as peace's interruption, but where true peace is proven. Imagine you're in line, running late, phone buzzes endlessly. Nothing moves. You feel heat rise. Want to sigh. Snap. Want the world to cooperate. But instead, breathe. Look around and tell yourself, this can teach me too. Suddenly, it's no longer a weight. It's training. You're not wasting time. You're building tolerance. That shift, that single choice to reframe the moment, is how emotional strength is tempered. Most men dodge hardship. They chase convenience. But that breeds softness, not strength. You grow when life pushes and you push back. When you ask, what does this frustration reveal about me? That question turns annoyance into insight. And when you're grateful for the moment showing what needs work, you've taken the first step to real resilience. Seneca said, "A gem can't be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." That's not metaphor. It's reality. Growth doesn't come from ease. It comes from resistance. But only when you meet hardship with the right mindset. Gratitude is that mindset, not grateful for injustice or cruelty, but for the chance to respond better than before. This is the pivot. You stop begging life for ease. You start asking to be stronger, and each hard moment becomes the answer. Gratitude becomes strategy. You use it to alter how you experience setbacks. It doesn't mean you like what happens. It means you refuse to waste what happens, even pain. So here's your exercise. At days on, recall a moment that irked you, a small scene that grated. Then ask, what did this let me? Practice patience, ego check, breathing before speaking. That's gratitude. Not for the event, but the opportunity it brought. Write it. Speak it. Let it shape how you meet tomorrow. Most live reactively. The wise live to refine. They don't expect comfort. They forge clarity. And when pain comes, they meet it calmly, without panic. They don't welcome every situation, but they refuse to leave without learning. Do this not weekly, but daily. Anchor gratitude in pain. Plant it in absence. Watch your mind shift not to false positivity, but true emotional independence. That gratitude lets you stay serene in chaos, focused in noise, more present than anyone around. Seventh, use time to shrink problems. A small flame looks huge when your face is too close. But step back. and it's just a flicker. That's time's power on issues. It doesn't change facts. But your perspective, what seems unbearable today, often shrinks when viewed from afar, but most never step back. They live face-pressed to every annoyance, every slight, every delay, burning in moments that should pass. Time is the wise man's scalpel. It cuts through the illusion that now is everything. It teaches better questions. Will this matter in a month, a year, 5 years? Suddenly, the sarcasm, cancelled plans, lost chances lighten. Because most things that shake you aren't eternal. They're fleeting, and a mind that waits suffers no second wound. You miss a flight, you lose a deal. Someone forgets thanks. In the moment, heart races, mind reels. You build stories, rehearse responses, nurture grudges, but pause not to deny the moment, but to see beyond. Whisper to yourself, this will pass. In a year, I won't even recall. That thought alone draws the venom from nearly every emotion, not by force, but by perspective. Many mistake urgency for importance. They treat everything as dire, every argument like the last, every mistake like catastrophe. But urgency is a lie, and the wise know it. They don't rush to fight battles. Time will resolve. They conserve energy. They discern which pains to confront, which to endure. That's not indifference. It's discipline. Imagine standing in a storm, rain pounding, wind howling. You're soaked, shivering, angry at the sky, but someone says the storm ends in 5 minutes. You won't panic. You'll wait. That's perspective's power. The ability to hold ground, not because it's easy, but because you know it's temporary. You suffer more believing storms last forever. But the wise know, most don't. Seneca reminded, we suffer more in imagination than reality. Apply time to pain, and you diminish imagination's grip. A slight fades quietly by next week. Failure becomes a stepping stone by next year. Heartbreak turns to memory with softened edges over time, and grasping that, you stop bleeding from paper cuts. Here's a simple practice. When something bothers, don't ask why me. Ask how long will this matter? Answer honestly. The truth is briefer than your reaction. That's your cue to release. And release isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Let the emotion come. Feel it, but don't let it define your identity. Let time wash it away while you stand firm. You don't need to react to every discomfort. You don't need to explain your calm to those who only rush. What you need is to understand peace grows as your vision expands. Let time be your ally. Use it to filter what deserves your energy. And you'll see how many problems seem big only because you're too close. Step back. Breathe. Zoom out the big picture. In 5 years, most of today's worries won't count. So don't let passing clouds block your light. Let time reveal what truly matters. Let perspective restore peace and navigate today with a steady mind, grounded in distance, not noise. That's how you rise quietly. Unshaken. Every man craves strength, not the loud kind for attention, but the quiet kind that's unshakable. What you've heard today isn't theory, it's practice. The silent discipline of emotional control, the ability to pause, think, choose, and protect peace like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. When you master reactions, lower expectations of others, and treat each disappointment as a test of mettle. You change. You're no longer enslaved to emotions. You're not pulled every which way by noise, people, or circumstances. You start living with awareness. Stoics aren't saints. They're men who've struggled like you. But they trained their minds daily through reflection, stillness, intentional response. And now you can too. You don't need perfect conditions to start. Just show up. Practice. Remember, inner peace isn't found. It's built one habit, one choice at a time. So today, begin small. When someone says something rude, don't retort. When plans shift, don't complain. When discomfort arises, meet it with awareness. Train emotional strength like a muscle. Turn every challenge into your training ground. And over time, the world stays noisy, but you don't. I invite you to share your thoughts in the comments. What recent moment tested your peace? How did you respond? Let this be a journal of growth, a reflection of who you're becoming. Remember, true stillness isn't absence of conflict. It's refusing to let your mind join the chaos. Hold that truth. Live it. Carry it quietly but firmly.